those with substandard contracts and payment of salaries withheld during the strike period.
We may not be able to get to 100%, at least 99.9% agreement is good enough.
Counties are trying. Even in spite of the challenges of funding, there are counties that are still recruiting healthcare workers.
The Council of Governors has on its part acknowledged the financial challenges that counties face, affecting delivery of some demands by medics.
The medical cover for staff. Honestly, the Council of Governors has done very well, the 47 counties. Because out of the 47, only 7 counties are in the process of ensuring that all the health workers are onboarded.
Despite the return to work agreement, 230 clinical officers employed by the Ministry of Health will remain on strike. The ministry has yet to resolve issues with the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, particularly regarding the posting and payment of interns.
From the Ministry of Health and the people who should actually be showing leadership, we have seen lack of it, and we have not seen that commitment. So the strike continues on the side of the Ministry of Health.
This partial end to the strike is seen as a significant step in addressing workforce issues in the health sector. Ben Kerera, K24, Nairobi.
Hundreds of medical, dental and pharmaceutical interns have vowed not to relent until their demands are met. The groups gathered at the Ministry of Health offices to demand their immediate posting, citing years of waiting for posting after completing their studies. Rubio Mondi with the details.
In a joint statement while picketing outside the Ministry of Health offices earlier today, the medical, dental and pharmaceutical interns said they have endured more than 6 years at medical school to acquire life-saving knowledge and skills, and that the delay in posting has caused them immense psychological suffering, with many of them grappling with depression.
Our knowledge is decaying, and we are losing opportunities to advance our lives. The psychological suffering we endure is immense. Without a license, we cannot practice medicine. Many of us are grappling with depression and suicidal ideation due to this injustice. Our parents are distraught. Our families are stressed.
They emphasized their right to be posted within 30 days of completing their studies as stipulated in the collective bargaining agreement between the Ministry of Health and the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, demanding for immediate posting of all interns.
On Saturday, we made a submission to MOH with 2 ultimatums. All interns must be posted today, with payments as per the CBA 2017. Between MOH and KMPDU to be made in batches as resources become available. If this is not done, we will occupy MOH forever. Unlike the health CS, we don't miss our words.
The interns have further rejected claims by the Health Ministry that tight fiscal space necessitates posting in batches, arguing that the ministry must find a way to post all interns at once, similar to how they would find resources for subsequent batches.
We don't want divide and rule.
No.
We want to post all and pay as CBA.
Today early in the morning, I met my friend who's doing online writing for someone who is doing masters in a very unrelated course in engineering in Australia. And he's a Kenyan who never studied that thing. So if this ministry does not want doctors, they should tell people early so that parents don't put their children through this system. Because at the end of it, they're going nowhere. You're going to sit with them like sick people at home.
The interns highlighted their role in the past by supporting Kenyans during the finance bill protests, calling on them to return the favor by amplifying their voices, emphasizing their readiness to serve Kenyans.
Right now, we are very focused. We don't want diversion. The enemy is one. Ministry of Health, headed by one lady who we don't know what her plan is with Kenyan medics.
Robbie Omondi, K24.
Motorists could soon be required to pay an additional 7 shillings per litre of super petrol and diesel, following a proposal to increase the road maintenance levy from 18 to 25 shillings per litre of petroleum products. However, Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has urged Kenyans not to do away with the proposal, but instead come up with ways of increasing the road levy without affecting fuel prices. Murkomen further added that the sector has 156 billion shillings in pending bills, following collapsed projects, insisting that the budget is also not enough to maintain Kenyan roads. Harry Chimea tells us more.
As the government embarks on a public participation exercise on the proposal to increase the road maintenance levy from 18 shillings to 25 shillings per litre on petroleum products, Kenyans have decried the move in its entirety, saying the intention is to reintroduce the 2024 finance bill through the back door.
We've requested them to put it on the shelf, go back to the drawing board, and come in with the data to show us why they have to increase at 7 shillings, show us what they've done with the previous collection, and what they intend to do with the incoming collection.
Waachane na mambo ya kuongeza levy, ile kitu wafanye, wapunguze ufisadi katika hizi agencies zetu za barabara ambazo ni Kena, Kura na Kera.
So it means as a transporter, itabidi niende ni fuel gari yangu Tanzania ama Uganda ndo niweze kufanya kazi yangu. But at the end of the day, ni nini ninachoweka kwa mfuko? What is the profit margin am I making? If you look at the profit, it will reduce either by 2% to 4%.
However, Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has urged Kenyans not to do away with the proposal, but bizarrely urging them to come up with ways of increasing the road levy without affecting the fuel prices.
How do we increase the 7 shillings without increasing 7 shillings at the pump? What can the government cushion? What cost that makes the petroleum higher, we can do away with, okay? And the difference, the benefit that comes to that difference, we can transfer to the roads without increasing the current fuel pumps up.
Murkomen says that the budgetary allocation for road maintenance is insufficient, adding that the country faces 156 billion shillings in pending bills from the previous administration owing to collapsed road projects.
We have a pending bill of the targeted 10,000 kilometers of roads that are yet to be completed of 165 billion shillings. This pending bill did not come with the current administration. Even by the time we came to office, I came and found a pending bill of 150 billion. Meaning that for 2, 3, 4 years before we came to office, we have been unable to pay our contractors. This is the first year that we had to suspend contracts because there is no enough money from road maintenance levy to maintain your roads.
He added that the country is grappling with a road maintenance deficit of 78 billion shillings in this financial year alone, and if the cash crisis continues, the gap will rise to 315 billion shillings by the financial year 2028-2029.
We have suffered the finance bill. The 7 shillings we are proposing will bring us to 115. Yeah? So you are still far away from what you require.
According to the CS, roads destroyed by the El Nino rains will also need more than 30 billion shillings for repair. The road maintenance levy has been in place for the last 8 years, and if increased, fuel prices will subsequently increase. However, Murkomen has assured the country that his ministry will also explore ways to ensure the decision does not increase the cost of living. The public participation exercise began in a simultaneous fashion in Nairobi, Central, North Rift, South Rift, Upper and Lower Eastern, North Eastern and Coast regions.
Members of public are
Harriet Chimea, K24.
Elsewhere, the High Court in Nairobi has today slammed brakes on implementing the Presidential Task Force on forensic audit of the public debt following a petition filed by a Nakuru-based activist, Dr. Benjamin Magari. Justice Lawrence issued a conservatory order today against implementing Executive Order No. 4 and a Gazette notice dated July 5th that created the task force until the case is heard and determined. As Timothy Simona reports, the latest development deals a blow to President Ruto's reform agenda following sustained anti-government protests.
President William Ruto's move to create a task force to audit Kenya's public debt as part of the response to youth-led anti-government protests now hangs in the balance. This follows an order issued today by the High Court in Nairobi that suspended the implementation of the executive order issued by President Ruto on July 5th.
This audit will provide the people of Kenya with clarity on the extent and nature of our debt, how public resources have been expended, and will also recommend proposals for managing our public debt in a manner that is sustainable and does not burden future generations.
Justice Lawrence Mugambi's order reads in part, a conservatory order B and is hereby issued suspending the Executive Order No. 4 and a Gazette Notice No. 97 dated 5th July, published for establishing the Presidential Task Force on the forensic audit of public data. Apart from certifying the case as urgent, Justice Mugambi further prohibited the respondents in the case led by the Attorney General or any other party acting at their behest or instructions from any quarters from discharging any function pursuant to duty under Executive Order Number 4. Nakuru-based activist Dr. Benjamin Magare moved to court to challenge the legality of the executive order, arguing that 1. The executive order usurps the mandate of the independent office of the Auditor General and is therefore unconstitutional. 2. Magare argues Article 229 of the 2010 Constitution establishes the office of the Auditor General, whose mandate includes auditing public debt. 3. The Office on Public Debt Management, headed by a Director General at the Treasury and funded by public money, should provide details of public debt to the Auditor General for forensic audit. 4. The Office of the Auditor General is an independent office pursuant to Article 248 and 249 of the Constitution, and duplicating roles is a waste of scarce public resources, among other reasons. The court has directed responses to be served and filed within 7 days from the date of service, ahead of the mention on 23 July 2024. Meanwhile, Busia Senator Okiya Omtatah has also announced his intention to move to the courts and challenge the validity of the task force, apart from plans to scrap 47 parastatals.
Because the Auditor General is one who has been invested with the powers to make this audit. And in fact, from where some of us sit, the law is very clear. Article 229, I think, clause 4G, is very clear that the Auditor General shall audit and give a report on the public debt every year, 6 months after the close of every year. So I expect these reports to be available. If they are not available, then the Auditor General needs to tell us why the public debt has not been audited.
Timothy Simwa, K24 TV.
Well, that report by Timothy Simo brings us to a fast break right here on K24 Evening Edition. We'll be back with more in a short while.
Have you watched K24? We would love to hear from you. Send us your feedback on what you like and what you don't like and why. You can use any platform to reach us. We can be reached on Facebook, SMS, Twitter, and WhatsApp.
Wapwani mpo! Kilifi na Kwale tumewasili. Sasa unaweza burudika na Star Times DTT kila maeneo ya miji ya Kilifi na Kwale. Tumbuika na vipindi kemkem vya kusisimua katika station yetu mpya ya Rainbow TV Plus kuanzia Julai tarehe 1. Rainbow TV Plus, kina cha burudani. Wasiliana na customer care yako nambari 0719 077 077 hivi leo. Upate taarifa zaidi pa kununua DTT Star Times decoder. Uenjoy zaidi ya channel 75 local na international. Usiwachwe nyuma. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Welcome back. Let's move on. Self-proclaimed Pastor Paul Nthenge Mackenzie today appeared in a packed courtroom in Mombasa along 94 co-defendants during the start of the trial of his case on charges of terrorism over the deaths of more than 400 of his followers. Autopsies revealed that while starvation appeared to be the main cause of death, some of the victims, including children, were strangled, beaten or suffocated. Fred Kai tells us more.
The infamous Shakahola cult leader Paul Mackenzie today appeared in Ashanti court for the start of his high-profile trial over the starvation death of more than 400 of his followers. Mackenzie is facing terrorism charges and is also accused of murder, manslaughter, kidnapping and torturing children, along with 94 others defendants.
By further consent of parties, the defense be at liberty to further cross-examine the witnesses. who will adduce evidence in the absence of the 27th accused once the said accused is well to resume trial.
Senior Principal Magistrate Leah Juma held that Mackenzie's militia-like organization was not a fringe group, but a well-organized society under the guise of a church under his leadership. The prosecution team stated that it will present 90 witnesses to paint a vivid picture of crimes executed in Shakahola Forest.
Now, Your Honor, to substantiate the prosecution's case, we will present both direct and circumstantial evidence with around 90 prosecution witnesses.
Wataweza kuleta ushahidi wao mahakamani, yote ushahidi unaoongea directly ama ambayo inahusisha ya mashahidi 90.
Senior Assistant DPP Jamie Yamin further revealed that they will also present other numerous pieces of evidence, including electronic and other form of digital evidence.
Your Honor, with your approval,
na kwa kukubali kwa mahakama,
we will also conduct a site visit to the scene of crime deep into Shakahola Forest.
Ni maombi yao pia wataweza kuomba mahakama iweze kuenda hapo mahali pa kisa ambapo ni Shakahola,
which is approximately 200 kilometers away from where you sit, Your Honor.
The DPP's team further stated that the witnesses, some of whom are vulnerable and under protection, will recount how the accused family controlled the group's activities. Senior Magistrate Leah Juma also had that witness testimonies will reveal the acceptance of fate advocated for by Mackenzie and embrace as a transcendent state of blissfully and heroic transition to spiritual realm albeit through action classified as either murder or manslaughter. However, lawyer Wycliffe Makasembo, who represents the 95 accused including Mackenzie, says he will tackle all counts and show the court that his clients were innocent.
The defense,
upande wa kiongozi wa mashtaka,
during our cross-examination of the witnesses that shall be procured,
ambapo itakuwa ni upande wao kuuliza maswali kwa mashahidi watakaoletwa mahakamani,
will rebut all the claims,
wataweza kukataa madai yote,
assertions and allegations,
madai na chochote kitakachosemwa
made by the prosecution,
ambacho kitaletwa mahakamani na kiongozi wa mashtaka,
and in the process,
na kwa hiyo njia,
we shall lay naked,
wataweza kuweka wazi,
the false allegations,
madai ya urongo,
claims,
madai
and charges
na mashtaka
that were leveled against our clients,
ambayo imeweza kuletwa chini ya washtakiwa.
Frederick K24, Mombasa.
Jubilee Party has criticized President William Ruto, accusing him of deceiving the public about measures he promised to implement following protest by Gen Z youths. They've condemned him for constantly committing to promises without fulfilling them. Gen Z have been commended for tirelessly standing up for the rights of the majority of Kenyans.
Gratifying to see that there is a generation that will not allow this country to go to the dogs. They came at the right time when many of us had developed cold feet and had gotten to a point where we could not question the KK regime. But they have come strongly and they have put their demands, and we want to start with them in the activities that they are going to have going forward. We will give them our support from whatever corner they may ever demand from us. Sisi ni kugojea watuambie vile wangetaka kama wangetaka, lakini la muhimu ni kwamba we had also a movement to demand that we join in the demanding of justice for those fallen heroes. Remember, why we don't have an IBC in Kenya today, or commissioners, is because Ruto designed it and effected it by sending home the Sheria Reform. Yes. He forced them to resign. And he has kept us without a commission for 2 years. Alikuwa anachora nini? Ile alikuwa anachora, na walikuwa wamechora because they had already started telling us, forget about 2027, get used to 2032. Wamepatikana na Generation Z. Hata 2027 ni bari.
The Kenya Media Sector Working Group has threatened to sue Inspector General of Police Japhet Koome for attacks on journalists who sustained serious and mild injuries during the anti-finance bill protests. As Bilia Kisenya now reports, threats posed to several media outlets has also been condemned as it deprives the press of its freedom.
Journalists covering the protest in Kenya always carry out a crucial public service. However, they are not in any way treated in a special way, and instead in most occasions are at a risk of being attacked. However, an attack from the police derives their freedom. In the just concluded 2-week anti-finance bill protest, several journalists were attacked and some briefly detained. And on the other end, some media outlets were denied their freedom to air their protest through threats.
A press statement that was released by CA last week tells you where the threats were coming from. So that was just follow-up of what they were trying to do behind the scenes to stop the media from doing its work by airing and publishing some of the stories that were coming from the protest. So yes, the threat came from the CA based on a press statement that they released last week.
Following the attacks on media, the Kenya Media Sector Working Group, an umbrella organization for local and regional media rights bodies, has condemned the incidences, threatening to head to the court to sue the government.
We are still compiling the list of journalists who are injured. Remember, we did say some time back that we are going to sue Inspector General of Police Japhet Koome over intimidation, harassment, and police brutality that were meted on journalists. And so far, we have received a few cases, which actually we've compiled, and we'll be using that to go to court to sue Inspector General of Police.
The Kenya Media Sector Working Group condemns the brutal response to peaceful protests that resulted in deaths and injuries of Kenyans and journalists. We equally condemn attacks on press freedom through direct threats of shutdown to media organizations. A thorough and independent investigation must be conducted to hold those responsible accountable.
This notwithstanding, the media body has commended the push for a change by Gen Zs.
We will shortly announce a comprehensive plan to develop a platform where Kenyans, including Gen Zs, will engage on critical issues affecting the nation.
Among those injured during the protest after attack from the police include K24's political reporter Joel Chacha, who was hit by a tear gas canister, Kameme TV's political reporter Stephen Mwaura, K24's driver Ezekiel Kariuki, Collins Olunga, a journalist with AFP in Nairobi who was also hit by a tear gas canister, KBC cameraman John Omido, who was sprayed with water filled with chemicals by police, Justice Mwangi from the Standard Group, who was rounded up, brutally bundled into a police vehicle and later thrown off a speeding vehicle, and Maureen Muthoni from the Nation Media Group, who was injured and arrested by the police. Bilia Kisenya, K24 TV.
Well, private and public garbage handlers have been given a 90-day compliance window to cease from using plastic bags for garbage collection and disposal. The National Environmental Management Authority, in a notice today, has also directed all county governments and private waste service providers to provide their clients with 100% biodegradable bags. Electa Nodera tells us more.
7 years after the ban on the use of plastic carrier bags, the challenge to adhere to the rule by most Kenyans still persists. The National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, grappling to come up with a permanent solution in a bid to reduce the health and environmental hazards associated with plastic pollution. In a notice today, NEMA has given all private and public garbage handlers a 90 days compliance notice to cease from using plastic garbage collection and disposal bags. The authority has also directed all county governments and private waste service providers to provide their clients with 100% biodegradable bags, and I quote, all organic waste generated by households, private sector and public sector institutions, religious institutions, private and public functions and events shall strictly be segregated and placed in 100% biodegradable garbage bags or bin liners only. The authority also cited Section 12 of the Sustainable Waste Management Act of 2022, which dictates that all public and private sector entities segregate non-hazardous waste into organic and non-organic fractions. The segregated waste be placed in properly labeled and color-coded receptacles, bins, containers and bags, and all waste service providers to collect, handle and transport segregated waste. According to United Nations Environment Programme UNEP, plastic pollution can be reduced by 80% by the year 2040 if countries and companies employ technology in dealing with the plastic pollution menace. Kenya is in the process of implementing mechanisms to recycle plastic products in a bid to reduce plastic pollution by 2030. Electing Order K24 TV.
Well, we'll take another break right here in K24 Evening Edition. I'll be back in a short while.
Have you watched K24? We would love to hear from you. Send us your feedback on what you like and what you don't like and why. You can use any platform to reach us. We can be reached on Facebook, SMS, Twitter and WhatsApp.
Cheza kama wewe na cheza sita. Ushinde hadi mara 5,000 ya beti yako teke teke. Yes, and it's that simple. Dial *675#, cheza na 6 numbers kati ya 1 hadi 6, weka bet amount yako ushinde hadi mara 5,000 instantly. Cheza kama wewe na cheza sita na upate nafasi moja kati ya 4 ya kuwa mshindi. Dial *675# to play now. Over 18 only. Gaming is addictive. Play responsibly. This message has been authorized by the BCLB.
Welcome back. Now, people living with different skin conditions are increasingly pushing relevant stakeholders to invest more in ensuring challenges facing them, such as lack of creams to protect them against sun rays. It is estimated that skin cancer is on the rise among persons living with skin conditions, among other challenges. Our reporter, Rubio Mondi, sheds the light on vitiligo, a skin condition, through the eyes of Julie Nasuju.
I was really wired, I was fully wired, and my colors come back slowly by slowly, and that is when I started accepting myself.
They are patches on the skin that have lost color.
I'm a vitiligo model, a DJ, a loctician, an MC.
Julie Nasuju tells us that the first patch occurred when she was 1 year old.
She used to think that the nannies were keeping me for long with the diapers and napkins and all. Yeah. And after some time is when she noticed that this thing is not changing, it's actually growing. And she took me to hospital to be done for tests and all that. It took her quite some time, like 5 hospitals or so, before me being diagnosed with vitiligo.
Nasuju, who is now a mother of 4, tells us that for a long time she used drugs to prevent the scars from spreading without success.
Well, when I was in class 8, because that's when I decided I don't want to take any more medication. I was tired of the medication throughout. And it's when I started standing up for myself. I wasn't allowing people to bully me around.
The scars, she says, saw her discriminated, always looking for a job with no success. Reason being, many thought she would infect others with the disease.
When I was going to serve people as a waiter, you find that I'm being told that I wear long-sleeved shirts, so I cover myself up, and if it's down, I wear trousers to cover myself. And the rest of the waiters are wearing mini skirts and blouses, which are short. So I felt that is really discriminating me. To the next point, I was wondering, now should I even cover my face so that I can be presentable to work for you guys?
She, however, decided to stop using medicine and accept herself. It's then that she began to see her scars as artistic beauty marks.
God anakuchora tu. You find yourself like, for me, I can give you an instant of, this is Africa, the map of Africa that was forming, you see. So I only outlined it with my tattoo. Now this is Kenya that is forming. I only put the shield. But if you look at the pattern very clearly, you can see it's forming into a map of Kenya. So you see, you find it's interesting.
The situation is no different for Jackie Wairemo. Her marks has made her a sought-after fashion model.
And it's been fun for me. Like, kila mtu anataka work nae like that. So unaona tuko nje wana appreciate your beauty. For people with vitiligo, I would say that they should embrace themselves however they are. I know that they are very beautiful. Yeah, this is God's art.
Research shows that vitiligo occurs when skin cells dubbed melanocytes stop producing melanin. The affected areas are bright or white.
You find that when you leave and you're going outside, people are staring at you. From morning till evening, will meet up with so many incidences. There's some people who look at you and smile, others will look at you and be shocked, some will run away, some will be astonished. All these things, they come all together. And the minute you experience that during the whole day, and maybe go somewhere and maybe be rejected or something happens to you, and somebody judges you because of how you look, it ends up affecting you psychologically.
It is, however, not known exactly what causes pigmental cells to stop working, but may be related to problems of implementation of the autoimmune condition system, history of the family, incidental events such as mental stress or severe skin.
We have come across a family in the rural sites of Kisumu. This family, the whole family, I guess, had persons living with vitiligo, like all of them had vitiligo. And you find that this lady, they were so used to so much stigma that she had to seclude herself from the society and actually be away. So anytime she spotted a person approaching her home, she would get violent.
This sees people with vitiligo remain at a huge risk of, among others, social separation or psychological stress, sunburns, eye problems or hearing problems. Treatment of vitiligo can restore damaged skin color but cannot prevent skin damage. Normally, human beings have one skin tone. However, for those living with vitiligo, their patches make them have two skin tones. And understanding that vitiligo is just a condition and not a disease, it will be easier for us not to stigmatize them. Robbie Omondi, K24 Health Beat.
Away from that, Kakamega Governor Fernandez Barasa, who also serves as the chairman of the Council of Governors, has called on the national government to expedite the release and approval of funds for May and June to ensure the smooth operation of county government services. Barasa pointed out that despite the allocation of funds for May, counties are yet to access these funds, which could negatively affect the financial absorption rate for the current fiscal year.
Naimiza kina mama wote ambao ni wajawazito kwanza kabisa kujisajili na mradi huu ambapo wakijisajili watakuwa wanapokea shilingi 2,000, na baada ya kujisajili pia tunawahimiza wakiwa ukienda katika zile antenatal clinics ili kuimarisha pia afya ya mtoto kama hajazaliwa, na ikifikapo wakati wa mtoto kuzaliwa tunahimiza wamama wetu waweze kwenda katika hospitali zetu ili waweze kuzalia kule, na baadaye pia watoto ambao wamezaliwa, watoto wachanga. Katika mradi huu tutahimiza wamama wetu waweze kuhakikisha kwamba watoto wamepata chanjo hadi miezi 18. Na katika mradi huu tutakuwa tunapatia kina mama wetu ambao ni wajawazito hadi baada ya kujifungua shilingi 12,000. Na ni mradi ambao itasaidia pakubwa shughuli ya afya. Sisi kama viongozi haswa magavana wote katika gatuzi 47 tumepinga vikali kuwepo kwa ile health commission. Hiyo itakuwa inagandamiza hali ya ugatuzi, kwa sababu tunajua ya kwamba ugatuzi haswa mambo ya afya imegatuliwa, na serikali kuu pia imeendeleza kugandamiza magatuzi zote kwa kuwapatia
Now, let's get some business news. Revenue mobilization for the financial year 2023-2024 grew by a notable 11.1%, up from 6.4% in the previous financial year, after KRA collected 2.4 trillion compared to 2.1 trillion in the previous financial year. This translates to a performance rate of 95.5% against the target. The year under review was characterized by multiple economic shocks that included depreciation of the Kenyan shilling against the US dollar,